Hello, welcome back everybody. So this is the next video and today is Friday and I'm sure that you're all looking forward to the weekend. So I just wanted to explain a little bit what a win-win situation is, because some of you may not speak English as a first language and some may not really know how it applies in this particular situation. So a win-win situation is obviously one where both parties win. So humans win and animals win, or humans win and the environment wins. And just to illustrate this a little bit, we have put together a few examples of how this is working together today already. So one of them, the win-win situations, one of the very early ones is solar energy. Obviously, the environment will benefit if you don't have coal plants and if you don't have oil spills. So solar is a very clean energy, but on the other hand, also it gives those who produce solar, the solar producers, a nice income without all the costs that are associated with oil, for example. You know, with oil, you've got all these pipelines, you've got these oil platforms, and even if there's not an oil spin, you've got a lot of upkeep to do, you've got a lot of cost building all this stuff. It's like one of these platforms is like 1 billion that it costs. And with a solar plant, you build it and then it sits there basically. You've got a little bit of upkeep, but not even close to as much. Another example, also renewable energies, would be a company like Unilever, for example. Their CEO has just posted something on LinkedIn, and you can take a look at that post on my LinkedIn profile. And basically, they are producing 100% of their products with renewable energies. And they're not just looking at their own products and their own company, which they said was pretty easy, but they're also looking up and down the value chain, where they're the supply chain, basically. So that is another example of, a win-win situation, because obviously the environment wins if they only use renewable energies, but they also win because after they've implemented it, they hardly have any cost anymore, at least in terms of energy, right? Supermarkets, if they sell Jute or Hessian bags instead of plastic, they have a much better profit margin, because these Jute or Hessian bags are much more expensive, and the plastic bags they were kind of expected to give away, so they were, built in somewhere in the margin somewhere, but they have much better way to get a profit out of it, right? Another example is nature reserve, ecotourism. So all these ecotourists are coming to the nature reserve and they're bringing all this money. And it's not just that they're taking care of the animals. And the animals finally have a vet. They are protected. They have rangers there. But also the humans who are living there suddenly have additional income. It's not just the money that comes in from those tourists to the nature reserve itself. It's also that the tourists come in and then they buy stuff, right? So the locals can sell them stuff. They can sell them their bags. They can sell them their local merchandise. So it is a win-win situation both for humans and for the animals there. Another example is no pesticides in food. Obviously, we will benefit from it because we don't have pesticide in food, which is really, really bad for the physiology. It's bad for brain function. It's bad for energy. It's bad for all kinds of things, including for our children, and all kinds of diseases are caused by it. But also the people who produce the food get a little bit more money, which is nice for them. And all those animals that are out there aren't getting killed as byproduct to these pesticides. So we still have these beetles, we still have these butterflies that are so beautiful, so that our children can take a look at them. And it is such a beautiful variety out there. If you take a look at, environments where you don't have pesticides, where all these beetles and butterflies and all these different kinds of things still, fly around, and it's incredible what is out there. And it's such an impoverished environment when they're not there. I mean, some people may get a little bit overexcited about creepy crawlies and stuff, but if you get used to it, if you actually take a look at the beauty of it, it's just unbelievable. And we would not want to lose that, right? Another thing, what is really interesting, talking about beetles and stuff, right? This is not really something that has been commercialized yet, but I think the secondary benefit that we have is worth mentioning. So it appears that we could not survive without cockroaches. Believe it or not, that is something that one of the keepers of one of the zoos told me the other day. I think it was in Bird World in the UK. Because cockroaches, when they digest their food, apparently spit on it, which is a little bit gross, but then there's enzymes on the floor, and then they, kind of suck it up. But then there's enzymes on the floor, and they stay on the floor, and then these enzymes break down whatever else is on the floor much faster than it would usually be broken down, which means the trees can use it much faster as well, which means they can produce more oxygen. And the cumulative effect of that is that we have enough oxygen to breathe. If there weren't any cockroaches and flies apparently as well, then we wouldn't be able to breathe because the planet would not be able to sustain us. How about that for a win-win situation, where some, one animal is giving something to the other. They kind of win from us because they get all the garbage from us, I suppose. But it's not really something that has been commercialized. It's not really something that maybe fits into this structure, but it is something to think about, because all these different ways of how things fit together have not really been looked at that much. They've been looked at by some biologists, but not really by the industry. And sometimes when it has been looked at, it was just looked at in terms of exploiting biology, exploiting animals. And maybe there are situations out there where we don't have to exploit them, where we can actually benefit them as well while we are benefiting from them. And maybe that is an even better way. Another example would be coral reefs. I mean, coral reefs are beautiful for us to look at. It's one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had to dive at a really, really beautiful coral reef. But they also, it's not just that if we protect them that we protect these animals and we have something beautiful to look at, what tourists look at, but they also are the nursery for all the fish out there. And on top of that, there's apparently some processes in there that make sure that all the bad stuff is taken out of the environment. And they're producing oxygen, as far as I know. So there's a lot of different processes in there where, it's not just, if coral reefs are bleached, it's not just, a little bit sad for some of the tourists who went diving. It has a lot more impact. And there's a lot of these things out there. And instead of just looking at, oh my God, everything is being destroyed and we're going to all die, how about we look at the processes of how we can support them and make profit at the same time? Because you know what? I always thought maybe if you do the right thing, you shouldn't really profit from it. But you know what? That's just stupid. Why should only the people profit who do the wrong thing, right? Why not do the right thing and profit from it? And then that's an additional motive, even for those people who don't believe in the environment, who don't believe in animals, to still do the right thing. So this is really what the win-win situation is about, to find situations where we can both benefit, the animals, the environment, and we as humans, and to find and create a future that is beneficial to all of us. So that was it for today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a lovely weekend.